video is a complete tile installation. We start with waterproofing and finish with grout. Follow along for full step-by-step instructions. Waterproof a shower using Schluter's products. Schluter has a very respected influence in the tile industry. I will cover Kerdi line drain, Kerdi-board, Kerdi waterproof membrane, Kerdi band, Kerdi corners, and Kerdi seal. Preparing you for the perfect tile installation. Let's get started. I selected a 32-inch line drain because I'm working with a 36-inch width in the shower. I want tiles at each end of the drain before they meet the wall, and that's why I undersized the drain compared to the width that I have in the shower. I roughed in my ABS drain as close as possible to the location, and now I'm going to do some checks to verify. There's my line drain at 2-inch opening. There's my ABS drain, 1.5 inches. The supplied coupler was 2-inch to 2-inch. I purchased a 2-inch to 1.5 inch to connect the drain. In this drain setup, you will need the ability to get at it from the side or below. Schluter has many different drains, and some of them allow you to work from the top. Make sure to select the drain that will work for you in your situation. Now I'm going to figure out the length to cut my pipe, my downspout, from the drain. So I'm doing a nice dry fit, connecting everything together. Then I'm going to go down below and measure the height of the pipe that I need to cut, so that when I put this all together, I've got everything perfect. Now with the drain complete, I'm going to start fitting in the shower pan. One great thing about Schluter is they have these shower pans that already have the draining set in the foam, so that you don't have to worry about sloping and making sure all the water is going to the drain. So it's super handy. They've got a lot of different choices and sizes and drain slopes and types, so really pay attention to what's out there. We're just having a look at the final dry fit. Everything's looking really good. I had to cut that in to make sure that my tile was going to end at the doorway of the shower at the same height as the wood platform by the bathtub. Everything looks great with the dry fit. Now it's time to use the all set to glue down the shower base. So I'm just going to use my notch trowel and spread out the all set. You can see here that I've just set the shower base into the all set, and I'm going to start wiggling it around and pressuring down on it to get that 100% bond between the notch troweled adhesive and the shower base. Everything feels good with the shower base. I'm just going to lay some weights down onto the line drain to make sure that they can't pop up, and that it's going to stay down until everything's dry. This is looking really good. Tomorrow I'm going to get started with filling in this void that you can see the shower pan and the wood on the left side, and the Kerdi-board and the wall. There will also be a 1-inch gap there that needs to be filled with some dry pack grout. So stay tuned. My inline drain glued in and plumbed to the trap, and I glued down my shower base. Now before I can get to finalizing the waterproofing, I need to fill this void in with some dry pack grout. I like to use a grout float, brand new of course, with no grout already stuck to it, and a putty knife. One thing with dry pack grout is you don't want to mix too wet, but you also don't want it too dry. I find that the perfect mixture, when you put it in your hand, will clump and stay into a ball, and you can see that's nice and formable. So let's get started. Push the grout into the void. Build it up higher than the base and pack it down with the grout float. Use putty knife to flush grout to the shower base, then clean up extra material. Great, we're all cleaned up. and the dry pack is dry. So what I'm going to work on now is gluing the flaps down from the line drain to the pan. You have to start there, and then you can use your waterproof membrane over the entire unit. Use your V-notch trowel to spread the all set to the area that the flap from the line drain will reach. Once spread out perfectly, fold flaps open and begin to smooth out the all set from underneath the flap. Be sure there's no bubbles. Make sure there's 100% contact there. I'm using a putty knife to smooth this out. Now when you're doing that, be very careful not to puncture through the membrane. I'm just going to protect the drain now. Getting ready to use my V-notch trowel over the entire shower base. Then I will apply the membrane that will cover the entire surface. The thin set mortar I'll be using is Schluter All-Set. All-Set is a specialized, modified thin set mortar specially formulated for use with Schluter membranes and boards. Suitable for use with ceramic, porcelain, and stone tile, including large and heavy tile. Comes in gray and white, and this product allows me to go from installing membranes right to installing the natural stone that will be going up in this shower. Once spread perfectly, unroll your Kerdi waterproof membrane over top of the entire surface. Start to smooth out with grout float. Then I use a putty knife to complete the bond. Make sure you have 100% contact, and it's important not to cut through the membrane with putty knife. There must not be any voids under the membrane. Now I'll check with the straight edge to make sure that I'm perfectly smooth. Great, now that we've covered shower bases and drains, let's move on to Kerdi-board. Kerdi-board is a tile substrate that replaces other solid backing panels like gypsum board and cement backer board. Features include waterproof and easy installation. I don't recommend using Kerdi-board on curbs. I have seen it fail in this location. Suitable for walls, not for areas that can be walked on. When installing, use recommended gussets. It is important to use a non-corrosive screw. These gussets come in boxes of 100, and I use 2 boxes for this shower. Now with the Kerdi-board attached, it's time to move back to waterproofing the shower. With Kerdi banding, I will waterproof the joint between the shower base and the wall. To complete the inside corner, I use the V-notch trowel and the all-set thin set. Once spread out evenly, fold banding in half and place into thin set. Start embedding the band into the all set and smooth out. Remember, we are looking for no voids under the banding. Now the perimeter is complete, time to start the walls. Schluter has pre-formed corners for the inside and outside junctions. I like to finish my wall banding before I install those. It keeps that area more flat. Now with inside corner banding complete, time to start inside Kerdi corners. Keep these corners tight so the wall and floor stays true. That way you won't see any deflection when you install your tiles. Now the final part of banding, the flat joints and screws. Spread with V-notch trowel, embed, band, and smooth out, making sure there is no voids underneath. Screws need the same treatment. Spread all set with the V-notch trowel and cut little patches of the banding and apply over top of each screw. Kerdi-seal is a prefabricated waterproofing seal with overmolded rubber gaskets designed for protrusions through the wall. They come in a couple of sizes and are perfect for shower stems and shower valves. We are getting very close to being finished with waterproofing the shower. Thanks for watching. Tiling this shower floor and linear drain. Installing these 11 5/8 by 11 5/8 mesh sheets on top of the Schluter base and waterproofing. I've got a great tip coming up on how to cut these tiles. Stay tuned. If you need more information on waterproofing, check out Waterproofing Shower and Linear Drain. Clean and vacuum any debris on top of the shower base. Use center of drain to establish a center line. I'm now starting a dry fit to figure out exact layout so I can determine the cuts. I'm working on a line established by the center of linear drain. You might notice that the spacing looks larger on the right than the left. My glass will sit on the edge, flush to the outside of that aluminum threshold. My center line for the drain, tile, and shower rough-in are based off the face of the glass to the face of the tile. This dry fit is looking really good. Once I get all the full sheets down, I will work on the front and back cuts. Use utility knife to cut mesh backing. Try to fit the tiles as close as you can to the wall. I'm using my utility knife to cut the mesh sheet for the drain cover. 2 rows of tile work perfectly on this linear drain cover. Two more strips against the wall and get ready for the wet saw cuts. Couple more adjustments and my dry fit will be perfect. Then I will measure for the cuts around the perimeter sides. I will be using this 7-inch V20 cordless wet saw from Craftsman. Here's a little tip to help you cut your mesh sheets. Press a 2x4 block firmly on the tile as you put it through the saw, and that will eliminate the sheets from pushing back on you. Look at that nice straight cut. With all the cuts complete, I can finish the dry fit of the shower base. Ah, that looks great. Now remove dry fit, keep all the tiles organized. This will make the install easy. One last vacuum and I will darken the center layout line so I can see it after I comb out the all set. The darker the better so you won't have to muck up your perfectly combed thin set to see it. I'm using a carpenter's pencil. All set is all mixed up as per manufacturer's recommendations. I'm using a 3/16 by 3/16 inch notch trowel. I will spread the thin set over the shower pan from the line drain to the wall. Follow thin set guidelines for trowel size selection. I'm going over the top of my layout line. After I'm finished combing on the perfect 45-degree angle through the thin set, I can see my line on the shower base. This is the most important part of the install. Keeping thin set as evenly spread as possible before I set any tile into it. Start placing tiles on top of the combed thin set. I am lightly placing them in the exact location of the dry fit before I press into thin set. Once happy with the tiles, use grout float to evenly press into thin set. Careful not to go too hard. Start slow and consistently press down, make that perfect bond. Consistency of the pressure used should ensure a flat installation. Using a damp cloth, clean off any thin set that has risen to the top. I will also clear thin set out of the grout joints with a utility knife before it's dry. Take a straight edge and check along the surface. You are looking for low spots or inconsistencies with the set. Couple small adjustments and I will leave this section to set before I go around the drain and cover. It's the next day and I will remove the dry fit of pieces around the drain cover and clean and scrape excess thin set, getting ready to set them around the drain. I could have finished this in one setting, but had a couple other things to do yesterday. Sometimes slow and steady wins the race. Using the 3/16 by 3/16 V-notch trowel, spread all set perfectly on a 45-degree angle and be as consistent as possible. It is tricky in these small areas. Your patience getting it consistent will pay off. I set the line drain cover in position and start setting the tiles. The drain cover is in so I can perfectly dry fit pieces on it and make sure it's all good. At last, final step on this shower floor. Set tile on drain cover. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the luxury bathroom renovation playlist to see the whole project come together. Install this beautiful earth gray marble floor. I will install a 1/2-inch plywood subfloor to the existing tongue and groove OSB, glued and screwed. The floor thickness is now 1.25 to 1 3/8 thick. If you are going to use plywood as a subfloor, make sure it is exterior grade so it will never swell. Seal your grout and silicone all edges to prevent water penetration. 1 foot by 2 foot tiles are the largest I will install without an uncoupling membrane. Check out my other video, How to Install Plywood Subfloor, for more details. To cut the stone, I will be using this 10-inch rigid wet saw. I will cut most of my tiles outside because of the water spray. This is a new 7-inch V20 cordless wet saw from Craftsman. I will have this with me upstairs for scribing tiles and smaller cuts, saving me a trip downstairs. The water from this saw does not spray all over, making it a super helpful tool. If you have any tool-related questions, send me a message to tools@constructioncoach.info. For material-related questions, send to materials@constructioncoach.info. Here's a close look at the floor after I remove the wedge and lippage-free clips. It's looking really good. Now let's take a look at the whole process so you guys can do the same on your project. Just picked up the tiles. I am unloading them and checking for defects, cracks, and chips. Some stone is very fragile. With the subfloor all ready to go, it's time to start the dry fit of the tiles. I'm using the same tiles on the walls in the shower and on the walls behind the sink and cabinet, so I'm going to take some time to really figure out this layout. My dry fit started. I went center of the vanity and started there, coming down this way. Now I would like to lay the tiles this way when I go up the wall, and obviously when I go up the wall there and when I go up the wall here. But one problem that I'm seeing with this, the tiles are exactly 1 foot by 2 foot. So when I switch the direction like this, the grout lines don't line up if I leave this space. After realizing that the tile on the floor running this way is not going to be able to run up the wall going this way, I think for my dry fit for the homeowner, I'm going to spin the floor tiles to run this way so that up this wall I can turn this direction and still have all my grout joints lined up. Now my grout lines going up this wall will line right up with my floor, which would happen the same on this wall. I would mimic whatever happens here up onto that wall and then go from there. These are a couple things that I was asking the designer if we should go center cabinet. But now looking at this, it will land weird on the shower wall. So I gotta ask what the focal point's gonna be for her. I might wanna use that shower wall, mimic on here, and carry the detail down onto the floor up on this wall. The homeowners did decide to go with a full tile on the shower wall. I will set the floor layout accordingly. The tile will then go around the stub wall and line up with the shower wall. After vacuuming the floor, I will give it a good wipe down with warm water. Then I will start the dry fit layout. I start my dry fit. Place first tile working my way to the heat register, making sure I remain straight on the layout line. Once I'm at the register, I'm going to lay out the cuts necessary. With the tiles cut around the register, and my tiles are on the layout lines perfectly, I will do some final checks. My goal is to get the first 3 rows installed and do under the cabinet tomorrow. Everything's looking great. Time to get started. Remove dry fit, mix up all set, thin set, and begin back buttering tiles. Back buttering is very important to create the bond between the stone and combed thin set. I will back butter on all tiles 8-inch by 8-inch or larger. With the putty knife, use all set and skim an 1/8 inch of thin set to the back of the tile. Not necessarily get right on the edge, stay back like an eighth so you're easily able to pick these tiles up without getting thin set all over your hands. Here is the trowel I'll be using. 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch notch trowel. Follow the directions supplied by the thin set manufacturer to determine your trowel size. I start by spreading the thin set on the plywood. Flatten it down and comb through it with the notch side of the trowel on the perfect 45-degree angle. Careful not to cover your layout lines. The first tile is very important. Set it perfectly on the layout lines and firmly press into the thin set. Slide the clips under the tiles and move on to the next. Once tiles are firmly bedded into thin set, install wedges into the clips. If using lippage-free clip and wedge systems, the best way to install is pretend you are not using them and do your best to level tiles with each other by pressing firmly into the combed thin set. Then install wedge into clip to fine adjust and hold tile perfectly. After installing the first 3 rows, I will go under the cabinet tomorrow. The camera angle under there will really highlight the combing of the thin set. For you DIY builders, let's watch the rest of these 3 rows. Really pay attention to the technique and flow as I work my way towards the door, ending day 1.
That was my first install with this lippage-free wedge and clip system. It worked really, really well. One thing you gotta make sure is get full adhesion of the tile to the mortar before you use these clips. So I can see a common mistake already is that people will be not combing their thin set properly and relying on the clips to even things out, and then there won't be any thin set underneath corners and stuff. So still very important to comb your thin set out on that 45-degree angle, keep it as consistent as possible so that you have full bedding underneath the tiles when you use these clips.
One nice thing about these clips is how easy they break away. Hit clip with shoe or plastic mallet in line with grout joint. Make sure to hit the clip straight on. Softer stone may show small chipping if done incorrectly. Now let's clean up and get ready to install the rest of the tiles underneath the cabinet. Back buttering the next set of tiles, these are the tiles pre-cut to finish the rest of the floor. With the thin set perfectly combed out, I will start the install. I'm working my way and pressing down, and one of my tiles just cracked. I had a little bit of thin set sticking out past the other side, and when I was pressing it caused it to crack. I'm just going to carry on with the install because I've got those tiles back buttered and ready to go. And then once I'm done, I'll come back and scrape that out and reset that tile. This floor has turned out really, really well. I'm going to break out the remaining clips and do a final cleanup of the floor and start working on the wall tiles. Now that the floor is in final position, it'll be easy for me to carry up over that stub wall and get on into the shower. Thanks for watching. Installation of this earth gray marble on the walls. I will tile the wall behind the floating vanity, wall hung toilet, and full shower walls. The shower has been waterproofed with Schluter waterproofing. For more info on that process, check out waterproofing shower and linear drain. To make the install lippage free, I will use lash, clip, and wedge system. To cut the stone, I will be using this rigid 10-inch wet saw. I will cut most of my tile outside because of the water spray. This is a 7-inch V20 cordless wet saw from Craftsman. I will use this saw upstairs in the bathroom for scribing the bottom row of tile in the shower, and smaller trims, saving me a trip downstairs. The water from this saw does not spray all over, perfect for indoor cuts. If you have any tool related questions, send an email to tools@constructioncoach.info. For material related questions, send an email to materials@constructioncoach.info. I'm working on the back wall layout. I have 2 laser lines vertically. That's the plumb lines I will follow up the wall. There are 2 horizontal lines. The top line is level with the tile on the other side of the half wall. This layout is tricky because the floor layout dictates where the tiles start up the half wall and the back shower wall. The tile on the outside half wall dictates the level line I must use in the shower. Once I have the level line figured out, I will scribe the bottom of those tiles to the sloping shower base. The shower slopes from the half wall to the linear drain. When figuring out the cuts, I will set the tile backwards, tight to the shower base, and mark the level line on the tile. Spin the tile the right way and upside down, and the slope is matched up perfect. Now cut the width. Let's watch this again. Hold tile backwards and mark level line on tile. Cut and place tile the right way and upside down, and it matches the slope perfect. Last bottom tile and I can start setting. This tile has a double slope on it because the shower nook also slopes to the line drain. I will scribe the slope on the bottom of the tile. Place tile on floor and measure the void at the bottom where it meets the base. Add that measurement to the height of the tile. Once cut, I can now scribe the bottom to the base. Cut the scribed lines on the tile. With the bottom row all cut and level, it's time to clean and protect the shower base. Mix up all set and grab the 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch notch trowel. Refer to thin set manufacturer recommendations for notch trowel size. Notch trowel size is based off tile size. If your tiles are over 8 inch by 8 inch in size, start back buttering your tiles. Use notch trowel to spread thin set on the wall. Comb through thin set upward on a perfect 45-degree angle, leaving a consistent amount of thin set. Set tiles firmly into thin set. Slide a lash clip behind the tile. Use 1/8 spacers to keep the joint even. I work my way up the wall. When using lippage-free clips and wedges, you must press tiles firmly into the thin set like you are not using them, making sure you have full adhesion of the tiles to the thin set. Then use clips to fine-tune the tiles. I'm being extra cautious, focused on my plumb layout lines. On top of that half wall, the glass will attach to the outside edge of the tile, so it's critical that I remain plumb. There is a critical detail like that on the shower wall as well. We'll take a look at that next. This is how much I got finished in one day. I will start the shower and vanity cabinet tomorrow. So many cuts going through the tiles, I will be testing out some new core bits. Watch as I keep the tile plumb on the laser line. When I set the tiles left to these ones, I will shoot a laser up that side as well. The glass will tie in perfectly plumb. Wall faucets can be tricky without these core bits. They come with a handy template to figure out hole location and to guide the bit when using. I like to step on template and get the bit started so there's a groove started, then remove template and finish the core. Use clean water and keep the bit wet. Look at that fit. These faucets are going to look amazing. Quartz countertops in and ready for backsplash. Be sure to check out this quartz install and 3 other kitchen installs in the luxury bathroom renovation playlist. In this location, I will be back buttering and backcombing the tiles to finish across the countertop. Finally, the last section of this install. There is a lot of cuts for the wall-hung toilet. This wall tile install took me 3 days. I could have rushed and finished in 2, but there is a lot of details here. Before I can move along to the grouting, I must seal all the natural stone. Here I am removing shims and breaking off clips. With a plastic mallet, be sure to hit the clips straight in line with the grout joints. Seal natural stone. With all natural stone tiles, you must seal the tile before you grout so it does not stain the stone. I will be sealing these earth gray marble tiles with a matte finish. Now that the floor, walls, and shower base are tiled, it's time to seal. I'm using Miracle 511 Porous Plus Sealer and this handy sealer applicator with tray. Shake up sealer and pour into tray. Dip applicator into tray. Wipe onto tiles. The goal here is to cover the surface of the tile and not get any in the joints. Go slow. Don't oversaturate the applicator. Press lightly. Wipe any drips with a cotton rag. This applicator is perfect for applying the sealer. It has a high density sponge, about 1/4 inch thick, and it holds the sealer in well, allowing the perfect consistency of spread on the tiles. I have used foam rollers in the past, but find it made the sealer hard to control. This is much easier. Once you have a good even layer on the surface, use a cotton rag to wipe and buff the surface, eliminating any unevenness of the sealer. Once the grout has been installed and cured, I will go through with another application of sealer. I like how the matte finish is bringing out the beauty in these natural stone tiles. Up until a few years ago, all the stone tile installs I worked on were gloss finish. I feel the matte keeps the stone looking more natural. Shower walls are finished now. Time for the floor. I will work my way out the door and leave it to dry undisturbed until tomorrow. I will set up a fan in here this evening to dissipate the fumes from the sealer. Tomorrow I will start grouting this tile job, and I'm one step closer to the finish. Stone tile do require more time to install because of these extra tasks, but the look is unbeatable. Thanks for watching. Here's a few clips of the luxury bathroom renovation playlist. Grouting the bathroom, walls, shower floor, and floor.
So follow through step by step and check out the progress of this reno. Thanks for watching.
Now that the floor, walls, and shower base are tiled, the natural stone is sealed, it's time to grout. Clean out all thinset that has filled the grout joint. If you don't clean it well, you will see it after grouting. Scrape gently off the sides of the tile, never downwards towards the base. Use vacuum to clean out all debris in the joints. Mix up grout. Follow all manufacturer specs for water and mixing speeds. You can get bubbles in the grout if you mix at too high of a speed. With clean water, wipe down the tile surface. Don't get water in the joints. This will help with removing the grout off the surface of the tiles. I'm using a non-sanded grout, good for joints 1/16 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch. This grout requires no additional sealer to seal it's sealed once it's dry. Spread grout on tile surface. Use grout float to spread and skim grout on multiple angles to the joint. Use float on an angle to clean off extra grout. On this project, they have a different color on the walls. I prefer large tiles because it's less grouting and easier to clean. We will take a look at the walls and floor next. Let's get some grout into the line drain cover. Use wet sponge to lightly remove the extra grout from the surface of the tiles. Wait a few minutes to let the grout set up in the joints before final cleans. With clean sponges, start second wash. Grout should be firmer in the joints. Keep clean until there is a little haze on the tile. Leave another 15 to 30 minutes. Use cotton rags to lightly dust off surface haze. Once first pass is done, lightly dampen rags and keep wiping until all is off the surface of the tiles. Getting started on the walls and floor. This is a natural earth gray marble, so it has been fully sealed before I start grouting. So important with any natural stone, the grout will stain the stone. I will use a sanded grout, good for joints 1/8 to 5/8 thick. This grout requires no additional sealer to seal. It's sealed once dry. I will be sealing the wall and floors one more time after grouting. When grouting larger tiles, I keep the mess close to the joints to make cleanup easier. Make sure grout has fully filled the joints. Start cleaning just the same as the shower floor. First, use sponge to clean the surface of the tile. Let harden in joint. It will be ready for final clean in 15 to 30 minutes. Here is a wall section behind the wall-mounted toilet. So cool that a wall-mounted toilet rough-in is mounted behind that wall. Wall-hung toilets are so popular right now. If you need more info, check out wall-hung toilet, in-wall toilet tank full installation, found in the luxury bathroom renovation playlist. Grout is all filled into these joints. Time to give a quick wipe with a sponge just to get that grout off the surface. Let harden 15 to 30 minutes and start final cleanup on areas grouted first. With cotton rag and sponge, clean off final haze. Those tiles are looking really good. Looking great here. I will next set up to grout the shower walls. Watch as I follow the same procedure on the shower walls. I'm using sanded grout, good for joints 1/8 to 5/8 thick. In this shower, I use Schluter waterproofing and shower base with linear drain. If you are constructing a steam shower, this is the method I use. The only difference is you must use epoxy grout in steam showers to stop water penetration from the positive pressure produced inside the sealed steam shower. The sanded grout I'm using here is self-sealing, but doesn't hold up in a steam shower with the pressure. When you seal a steam shower perfectly tight, the positive pressure drives water in and will rot your home. There is lots of information on these topics in the coach's videos. This grout job has turned out perfect. After the grout has cured, I will apply one more coat of sealer to this earth gray marble. Few final shots, and I'm going to silicone around the edge and all inside corners. Thanks for watching. Here's a clip of the other topics covered in the luxury bathroom renovation playlist.